Hi, I'm Christy Davis, one of the Action Coach executive coaches here at Action Coach DFW. And today I have the pleasure of having Gary Moore, co-founder and CEO of Non Perail. Gary, thank you so much for being our guest. We certainly appreciate you being here. Um, and for our audience, I would love for you to just give a little bit about your background in business and then your company.
Sure. My background is primarily in IT. And first of all, Chrissy, thank you for having me on today. It's an honor and pleasure to be here and speak to your audience. My background is really a heavy IT background. I was in the IT services and recruiting industry for years, and then had a son that found out was diagnosed with autism at age 3. About 15 years ago, met a gentleman that has a son with autism, and he and I had a vision of wanting to do something for our sons when they grew up. And so about 15 years ago, we founded Non Perail Institute in Dallas, Texas.
What an amazing thing. Can you give a little bit more background about what that looks like? What you're serving? Who is your ideal client or customer through your organization?
Sure. So we serve young adults, 18 and above. This is kind of after high school. The question many parents have is, what happens to my son or daughter when they graduate high school? For many of us, it's a kind of a cliff that they fall off of because there aren't many services out there for our children once they graduate high school. So we're trying to fill that gap. So our institute is geared towards young adults 18 or above. We don't have an age limit, so we've had some people coming to train with us that are in their 30s and 40s, but the primary age group is in the late teens, early 20s. They all must have a diagnosis, and many of them have a number of diagnoses, comorbidity things, so autism, ADD, ADHD, dyslexia. The population we serve is pretty broad. And as many of your audience may know, the prevalence rate continues to grow. So it continues to be a growing need, and especially when they age out of high school. And the unemployment rate for these individuals, or underemployment rate, is somewhere in the 80 to 90% range. And so it's really a challenge for these families and these individuals when they become adults. What happens? How are they going to be able to support themselves? And really, more than just supporting themselves, Christy, have a fulfilled, meaningful life with purpose. Although my son is a fairly impacted, he still has dreams and goals and things that he wants to do, and he wants to be a part of society. He wants to be a productive member of society, and that's what my wife and I want for him. And so that's what we're trying to do is training a lot of skills, soft skills, hard skills, work readiness skills, with the idea to help them find a better future for themselves, which would include employment, but community, friends, social skills, being able to advocate when they're out in the community, because many of them struggle in that area. So we're trying to serve a great population of young individuals by providing the necessary training that they need and skills that they need to navigate life after high school.
I'm searching for my words because I'm a little bit in awe. Gary, although my nephew does not have autism, he's been diagnosed with Down syndrome. He has Down syndrome. And all of these things that you're saying are true to him as well. So every single thing you said. So I'm struggling for my words at the moment. I'm in awe that someone decided to really take although it's a nonprofit, it's still an entrepreneurial avenue. It's a business. It is something that you saw a need, you saw a problem, you found the solution, and you've created Non Perail to facilitate everything that these individuals, these men and women can provide back into society, creating a fulfillment within their own life, self worth. Every person needs self worth. Every single person. We were put on this earth to serve a purpose, and you're helping create that. And I just, my head is going 9 miles an hour the other direction of how my nephew could benefit from this. So my apologies that
No
I kind
worries.
of am taking it in that regard. But oh my goodness, you've shared who your focus is specific. As an entrepreneurial, you're not trying to be this big target. You've decided that you're laser focused. One is because of a personal connection, your own son. But secondly, that you didn't want to take on any and all disabilities, that you wanted
Yes.
to take on and focus in on one area to improve the lives and impact the lives of these individuals. Um, oh my goodness. My guess is that there's really not any competitors out there that are doing what you're doing.
Well, good question, Christy. And just the name Non Perail, people ask, how do you say that? How do you spell it? It's a unique word. It's a French word that, and but what's important is the meaning, no parallel, no equal. And that's how we view our students, that they're so awesome, they're so gifted and talented that they have no equal. So we chose a name that we felt reflected who they are and how we viewed them. So there are a number of organizations around the country. There aren't enough, certainly, but there are a number of organizations, and we try to, cooperate, collaborate, share them with people that we come in contact with across the country. But there are not very many organizations doing what we're doing. The depth of the technical training we're doing, the depth and breadth, the soft skills, work readiness, core skills, life skills, the community engagement, social engagement, socialization is a big thing for a lot of these young men and women. That's where they struggle. So there's kind of three pillars of our model that support what we do, and so there are great organizations that are doing great work. But what we all agree on, and I know many of them, I've been to their facilities, they've been to Non Perail. What we all agree on is there's just not enough. The population of these individuals continues to grow. And there's just not enough out there to serve them. And that's why we've opened in 4 cities. We've had about 70 cities that have asked for a Non Perail site in their city. So we're trying to figure out how do we expand. One thing we did do a few years ago is we did offer something that I said we would never do years ago, and that's a virtual version of Non Perail. So we do have a MP Online initiative where we have about currently 50 students around the country that log in every day and are taking our training virtually wherever they're at in the country. So we felt that was a way to kind of help, more individuals around the country that couldn't come to one of our cities, or maybe they don't live in a city where there is a service or support. But you're right, there aren't a lot of Non Perails out there, and so that's why we feel the need to continue to expand what we're doing.
And I think you said it earlier, bridging that gap after the school age, because that is where you see that drop off, and parents don't necessarily know how to assist and work with their children, their adult children. Um, so when we talk about this, we talked a little bit about your business. We've talked a little bit about the why. Um, what do you wish people knew more about your business?
Oh, great question, Christy. Well, we wish they just knew about us. It's interesting. If you go to our website, npusa.org, and you may ask me that later, but I'll just plug that now. If you go to our website, you'll see, if you scroll down, you'll see we've been really fortunate to have a lot of local and national media attention. CNN, NBC, Nightly News, USA Today did a big spread. Family Circle, Computer World. We've had a lot of NPR did a story. 800 radio stations featured us several years ago. So we've had a lot of national publicity and local publicity in our cities, but it's funny, we'll still get a family come in for a tour and they live right down the street and they've never heard of us. So we want people to know that we're there and what we do and that, who we serve and that we're available to meet with them. We also want them to know, Christy, we are a nonprofit. And since I know that's a big part of what you all do, it's hard because we rely a lot on the generosity of donors. And because my background is more for profit, I didn't have a lot of any experience in nonprofits. So we're all trial by fire. How do you build and grow and sustain a nonprofit? So we do, need support in order to continue to support and sustain what we do to serve these individuals. Uh, we also want them to know that we've got something we introduced not that many years ago, power sourcing. A lot of our young men and women gain all these awesome skills at Non Perail. In fact, if you're ever, you need to come out for a tour. When you walk through the building, you see a lot of young men and women sitting at the computer or in a room working with other students on a whiteboard, and they're doing this incredible work. We do some very sophisticated technology, digital technology, IT technology. It's pretty amazing when you see what these gifted individuals can do. But as I give tours, and it might be a professor at a university, a doctor, a business leader, a school teacher, special ed, it could be anybody. I'll tour these people and we'll come back to my office and we'll sit down and I'll say, what do you think of that? And I'm expecting to say, man, that's incredible work that they do. And how awesome is that? But that's not the answer I typically get, Chrissy. The answer I typically get, wow, this is amazing. I've never seen so many happy, smiling, self-confidence, people with self-esteem, looking me in the eye, shaking my hand, expressing their joy with what they're doing. And many of these people are people that have worked with adults on the spectrum or neurodiverse individuals. And they will say, I've never been in a place where I've seen so many individuals like this. So what's your secret sauce? How do you do that? And the truth is there is no secret sauce. If there is, it's really that we just try to provide a place where they're accepted. There's dignity, respect. We appreciate them. We focus on their strengths, not their weaknesses. We just really, there's a lot of accommodations and just we love them and we just see what they can be. We focus on their potential and their strengths, not what they can't do or struggle with. We don't worry about their deficits. That's not a thing to us. We understand that. So I think that's the secret sauce is just that we care and they're accepted at Non Perail and they're not marginalized or they're not, told they can't do stuff. We push them to do what and see what they can do. And I think that's probably the number one thing would be the takeaway is you need to come out for a tour or just watch some stuff on our website. We have some video. Anyway, I better shut up, Christy. We're going to run out of time.
I know, Gary, that secret sauce, as I look at it and translate it into any given business out there, any given company, any entrepreneurial, oh my goodness, if we all incorporated that secret sauce that you spoke of, where would we be in our business environment? Where would we be in our society today if we all had that viewpoint?
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. So, one of the things we do is this month, April is Autism Awareness Month. We kind of changed that a little bit to Autism Acceptance Month. And so one of the things we want to try to do in addition to serve these great individuals is help the world know more about this and what they might be missing by not bringing diversity in regardless of what it is. Disability is what we're focused on, but just being a more inclusive environment in company and employer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to fast track us just a little bit. Where do you see your company, your organization in 3 to 5 years?
Okay, great question, Christy. Well, a couple of things. We realize now as we've built this program for 15 years, we continue to evolve and get smarter about how to better serve these young men and women. And So we're continually looking to broaden the program that we have and expand on the program. In fact, we're looking at a couple of initiatives that we're going to be releasing here or sharing here soon to serve more individuals. So the primary focus now and in the short term is to just continue to deepen and broaden our program and our infrastructure so we really have a strong foundation to continue to build on. And then the hope is in the next 3 to 5 years is that we can continue to look at expansion and more students online around the country for those cities we can't get to or they can't get to us, but also looking at opening other sites around the country.
And Gary, how are you recruiting or attracting people to come work in the organization, whether that be volunteer based or paid team members?
Well, great. You're asking some great questions, Christy. So a lot of it's word of mouth. We do have people that are searching, for different opportunities out there that might fill a void in their life, or they're looking to go to work for a place that where they can make an impact and build on their legacy, not just a job. So a lot of it's word of mouth. A lot of it is people who tour. We've had school teachers, special ed teachers, we've had business people tour, and they get so moved by what they see, they'll ask me, "Can I send you my resume?" So we get a lot of that. We post jobs when they're available, and then we certainly are open to volunteers. And a lot of times that might be siblings of our students, or parents, or aunts or uncles. Uh, People in the community and businesses. We have Autism at Work Day, where we partnered with EY and Dell and other companies that want to come out and volunteer for a day. So there's just a lot of opportunity where people can get involved.
Fantastic. I like to offer that up because one, it's about a lot of times it's not just the me in something, it is the we, it is the
Yes.
team. It requires that education of your team members, your volunteer members, and be able to be contributing and back to your mission, your vision of the organization. So I just always like to talk a little bit about that. So we're going to begin to wrap up, but as I
Okay.
wrap up, I always like to ask a little rapid fire question. So,
Okay.
um, just off the top of your head, quick ones. What's been the key to your success?
The key to my success, I think, is being open to listen to others and to be open to learn and just be flexible and hire smart people. Smarter
Smart
than me.
people.
I don't have to be the smartest guy. I hire smart people.
Fantastic. What a great approach. You hire smart people so that you get to expand. Not just it's all about you, that it's based on what you know and what you understand. I love that component. What book are you reading currently?
Well, funny you should ask. Behind the Locked Door, it's actually a book that was written by a young man on the spectrum, and he's on our board of directors, Paul Loudon. Phenomenal story. I'm not through. Well, I've read it once. I'm actually reading it again. So perfect timing, but it's a great book. I would recommend it to anybody. It's from the perspective of someone on the spectrum.
Okay. Behind the Locked Door. Is that what you said?
Behind the Locked Door. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you said something, I'm going to digress just a moment. You said something that always triggers my head. I read books more than once. There's so many different facets that you can learn a second time or a third time. It's not about the volume of books I read. It's about how much I can learn and implement out of those books. So I applaud you for doing that as well. So if you could wave your magic wand and improve one specific area of your business tomorrow, what would that be?
I think, well, there's a number of areas, Christy, but if there's one area that we could improve, uh, I think it would be that transition from non-pareil to meaningful employment. So partnering with companies, because although we've hired some at Non Perail, we have a power sourcing initiative. You can check that out on our website. It's almost like an incubator at Non Perail, an internship. You can work at Non Perail once you finish training because companies give us projects that they pay us to do. So our students get an opportunity to work in a safe space and hone their work readiness skills at Non Perail before they transition out into competitive employment. But we can't hire millions of people. So we need lots of companies partnering with us. So that is my hope and desire in the future that we can build more pathways with companies outside of Non Perail to build a future for these young men and women.
Fantastic. So, our audience listening today, you've gotten some big nuggets of taking a nonprofit, and actually, you can utilize any and all of these opportunities and nuggets that Gary spoke about in your own business, your for-profit business. But the biggest takeaway I think for our audience is how you can get involved with them. You have the ability to maybe hire some of these individuals and make them part of your workforce. So I encourage you, Gary, one more time, how our audience can reach you and learn more about your organization, Non Perail.
Absolutely. npusa.org.
Fantastic. Do you have social media? Do you have any, are you doing anything like that too?
We have Twitter, we have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, so all of those social media outlets.
Fantastic. Everyone, please go out and take a look at it. And Gary, I have one last question for you, and then I'll let you have the last word. What is most inspiring you today?
uh, I'm in Austin today. I'm in our Austin branch and walking around and seeing 50 young men and women who are excited to be doing something in a community where they're accepted and loved and cared for, and seeing them just blossom. That inspires me. I tell my staff, it's not about CEO or running a business that inspires me. It's really seeing these young men and women's lives transformed into productive members of society. And that's what inspires me.
Oh, well, Gary, you certainly have sparked and inspired me today. I appreciate you joining us on the Business Spotlight. And I know our audience, you need to save this one and go back and listen to it again because I think there's some inspiration in here, as well as some great business how to practical nuggets. Gary, again, thank you so very much for joining me today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Chris. It's been an honor. Thank you.
My pleasure.